It was a cold winter's night. In the airplane that we were riding in, there was a bit of turbulence and some of the passengers got really scared. As the pilot, there was nothing much that I could do but just control the plane. And my co pilot, fearing for his life, turned to me and said, "I think we have a situation, Captain." And I told myself to stay calm, stay steady, that these things are just momentary and that we'll be able to get through it. So I look at him and I say, "Just keep forward, Private. We'll get through this one raindrop at a time." So he calls back into the passengers on his intercom and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing a bit of turbulence. There is a thunderstorm about 30 miles out. We won't be directly affected, but the rain and winds may cause a bit of shaking." And so, in the heat of the moment, everyone kind of got into a small panic, but the flight attendants, they did the best that they could. And so, they also got on the comms as well. And immediately, right after me, started to speak up. "Ladies and gentlemen, everything will be okay. Just fasten your seatbelts. Make sure to stay in your seats, and we'll get right through this. It shouldn't take too long." And so the plane shook, and you could hear the rattling. You could feel it as the plane bended side to side, a little to the left, a little more to the right. You could feel us dropping altitude, but that was only because I was trying to make sure that we were in a safer environment. So we continued to go downwards. And as we were flying, there was this one passenger, and this passenger was just out of his mind. He was just very afraid. He was very scared, and there was just nothing I could do because of the position that I was in. At times you can't really do so much. You can only do what you can. So he starts to take his seatbelt off and starts to kind of wild out. He starts to become erratic and scared. And the flight attendants are trying to tell him, "Sir, sit down. Everything's going to be okay. Just sit down. Don't worry about it. Just take a breather and sit down." And he was freaking out. He was like, "No, I cannot calm down. This is dangerous and I'm going to die." And he was scaring all the other passengers. And so eventually we all decided, okay, this is a problem. We need to calm him down. This is no way that this can happen. And so as the plane was rattling and shaking, I was about to lose control. And my co-pilot says, "Don't worry, I got this. Just control the plane for a little bit." So he gets off his seat, but before he gets up, I hold him down on his left hand, grab his palm, and say, "Look, you're not going anywhere." I call in the flight attendant, the main one, Maria. She comes in. I tell her we need to calm that passenger down, and she says, "We're trying, and there's nothing we can do." Three of the flight attendants are holding him down, but he's still being erratic and crazy. And so I go, "Okay, I'm going to keep flying the plane. You go out there and you calm him down somehow." And she's like, "I don't know how." And I said, "Somehow." And so I look her dead in her eyes, and she looks back at me, and the only thing she sees is her life before her eyes. And so she goes back to the back of the plane. Everybody's screaming, "Ah, ah," erratic. And all of a sudden, one of the passengers gets up and they're like, "Sir, you need to calm down. I'm a trained professional. I just need you to calm down." And he's like, "Trained in what? We're all going to die. This plane is getting crazy. Look at where we're going. We're all going to lose it." And then he just starts going even crazier. And so the flight attendant sees that there's an iron in the cabinet for ironing clothes and just grabs it. Go, "Sir, if you don't calm down, I am going to hit you with this." And everyone just kind of pauses and freaks out. And the man gets even more violent. He goes, "How could you do that? How could you hurt me? I'm just only trying to protect myself. I'm losing it." So he breaks out of the flight attendants and he gets up and he goes towards the airplane door. And at this point, I knew nothing of this because I'm trying to do is make sure that we don't fall out of the sky. And so he goes for the door and he tries to open it. And then three passengers get up, two men and a female, and they just throw him down and they start kicking him and kicking him, and the flight attendants just watch. And then eventually, after a bit of struggle, he kind of just stops moving, and everyone kind of just looks at each other and just in a moment of silence. And one of the flight attendants, not Maria, Cynthia, goes and grabs the defibrillator, tries to resuscitate him because it seems like he's passed out, maybe even dead. So she goes for it, but before she does, the other flight attendant, Cindy, says, "Look, first, let's check for his heartbeat." So she goes close, checks for it, realizes that his heart is not beating. It is not beating, and he is not breathing. So they grab the defibrillator and they try to resuscitate him. Nothing, nothing. He doesn't come back. He just lays there lifeless. And everyone kind of just looks around. And then they just continue flying the plane. And in about 30 minutes later, we finally get to the airport and we land. And The only thing I do is right before we land, I call the flight attendant and Maria, the main one. I say, "We don't speak of this. The man was losing his mind. We dropped him down. It seemed like he hit his head on the floor and he may have given himself a concussion. We tried to resuscitate him. He did not come back. And that's the end of the story, right?" And that was how we accidentally killed somebody. And welcome to the Jargon Podcast. It's your host here, Ruben Gutierrez, aka Ruben Hood. Wow, that was pretty heavy, wasn't it? So yeah, it's an interesting story to say the least. I got a little excited and kept going, but essentially, I'll explain all that later. For now, I want to say thank you to everyone who listened to the last episode. I appreciate it. I know that you guys are all going through your personal struggles and vacations because Christmas just passed, and that's exciting. Presents everywhere, people gathering, everyone being excited, family, kids, everybody yelling. It's a lot of fun and a lot of food, hopefully. The reason for that story is because one of my favorite CSI episodes, probably my favorite one, is the episode where there's a passenger who kind of loses their mind and ends up being killed by the flight attendants and the personnel there. And so throughout the whole episode, the CSI people are trying to figure out what's going on. They're interviewing everyone. They're talking to them. And they're like, "Yo, what the hell happened? How did he die? How did this man become deceased?" And they're trying to figure it out. And this is the LA one, by the way, which is my favorite one. I think it's just the original one. It's just called CSI. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite episode. And the reason it is because the meaning behind it at the end. And the whole moral of it is after they go through the whole process of trying to figure out who it was that killed the man, they realized that it was all of them all together, the people that they interviewed, and that they all just kept their mouths shut and protected each other. And he was very angry, and they were kind of having a discussion about it at the end of the episode. They were like, "Yo, how could all these people just do this and just hide it from them? It's not okay." And then some of them were like, "Look, if it was my life and everything like that, I would have done the same thing." Some of the other ones were just thinking like it's a moral ground. There's really no right or wrong. It's just in the moment, there's not much you can do. And then the guy with the glasses, the one that loves roller coaster, he goes, "It took 5 people to kill him, but it only could have taken one to save him." That's some cold shit right there. But that quote has really stuck with me for a long time because that episode is one, my favorite, and two, it has such a deep meaning to it where realistically it's very hard to kind of think critically in those moments when, lives are on the line and things are about to happen. And essentially from the way it was visualized, the man was like 2 seconds from opening that door. And if he opened that door, everybody would have died. There is no doubt that anybody would have survived to tell the tale, would have just been done. And so they saved a lot of lives by doing that. But at the same time, the whole idea is that in these situations, we always have to make sure to stay positive and make sure that we look towards the better solutions, not just the more immediate solutions. And that goes for our lives as well, because we all want to take a shortcut or the easy way out or just try to do things like that. And it doesn't help you. Taking the easy way out does not help you. It might help somebody else. Oh, that's for sure. It might definitely help somebody else, but it does not help you in the long run because life isn't that short. Life isn't 2 seconds long. It's at least 2 minutes long. And so that's that's why I think the episode is very important to me. And I think it's a great episode. I don't know what it's called, but that episode is just really good. And I definitely think you guys should check it out. If you guys have never seen CSI, it's an awesome show. I hear a lot of good reviews about the New York version. My favorite is LA, but you know how it is. So, anyways, I kind of just want to talk to you guys a little bit about yourselves and what you guys are looking forward to in the new year. Because I know that for a lot of us, we have these things like resolutions or goals or different mindsets that we want to have. And I don't really want people to see these resolutions as something like when I say the word resolution, it makes me feel like it's a synonym for an ultimatum. It's like you do this or nothing, you know? You only have a choice. And I think that's unfair to yourself. Don't put yourself on these resolutions and don't think that you need to be set on how you want to be when the year ends. Just think about how you want to be in the future. Ignore the idea of a year and think about life itself. Who do you want to be? Where do you want to be? How do we get there? What are the steps that we need to take? Those are the important things. Don't have a resolution, have a goal, have a mindset, have an idea of what you want to do and who you want to be, and just go for it. Take those steps, and the new year will just be another event in your life, just like it is for everybody else, because we all still going to work the second. We can party it up and drink and do the thing, hit the New Year's night, you know what I'm saying? But it's always more important to see what you want to do as a long term goal and a journey so that you can see the person you want to be in the future and be happy with it, you know? And I think that's really important. So, another thing that I kind of wanted to get into after all that resolution, all that New Year's stuff, by the way, I hope you guys have a great one too. Try to have something like that for yourself, a little goal in mind. Try to get yourself on a mindset so that we can really push past the pain that we may be feeling in our hearts and move towards our own personal goals so that we can live better for ourselves and therefore for each other, you know? Take this one step at a time. So, I just want to thank, by the way, the people that commented on the last episode as well. I really appreciate it. We definitely going to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Carlos, and everyone else. Also, something that one of my close friends, and I guess you could say people in my lives or role models, was P Mom. And you know who you are. And she asked me an interesting question about what I think about the law of attraction. Now, the law of attraction, for those of you who don't know what that is, it's essentially the idea, it's a pseudoscience. And the idea is you think certain thoughts and you have a certain energy about you, and that attracts those type of thoughts and energies in people. So if you have a positive mindset, it attracts positivity. If you think negative thoughts and think negatively, it attracts negativity. And the interesting thing about that is, although I do believe it, me personally in my life, there's a lot of times where I have negative thoughts or I'm just being negative and stuff like that. And I still attract positivity. It's almost like a thunderstorm where I start to feel these negative thoughts and then bolts of positivity just start coming at me. And I'm like, wow, holy crap, maybe I don't feel as bad as I actually do now, because there's people around me that are pushing me forward and helping me out. And then there's sometimes where when I'm being very positive, it's like a downpour, or it's like the ground beneath me is sinking because I'm being positive and I keep being positive and I stay motivated to what I want to do and who I want to be. And bam, solid punch in the face. Ooh, you felt that, bro? You still happy? Like, you know, and that's painful. And both of those situations have occurred to me. And I would like to give examples, but I think for now, I'm just going to keep it like that just because I want you to think of your own examples in your life. Because the whole idea is that we have this energy within us. And this energy, we do whatever we want with it. We live our lives, we chill, we watch TV, we go out, we move forward, we work jobs and stuff like that. And so that's all very important. And that's all an aspect of ourselves that we should appreciate. And the law of attraction kind of gives us the idea that if we stay positive, if we move forward on the ideas that we think are true and stay true to ourselves, regardless of the situations or the crap we have to put up with in life, we will be better and life will be more positive. Things will be brighter. You know what I'm saying? You will have friends around you and people around you with like minded ideas. And I've also seen situations where people can get very negative. This is an example for myself, a personal one that I'll use because it's kind of separate of the law of attraction. And it happened to me essentially when I was in New York or places that were very, very condensed. And so when I was traveling in New York, sometimes I am just smiling at everyone. I'm just being very positive and just like, just happy go lucky. That's like my natural state somewhat is being happy go lucky. So it's kind of like la 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 and just hanging out. So I go and I'm walking down the streets and I'm just smiling at everybody, seeing what's up. And people are just like mean mugging me or just like not about it. They don't want anything to do with that. There were times in Philadelphia when I was going to school where people would antagonize me, like, "Yo, what you so happy about? Yo, what's up? Yo, what's up?" Like, it's one of those things where I guess when you're around the hood, because where I lived was essentially the halfway point. One half was the school and everything that was about it and the surrounding area, and the other half was very just hood. And so you had this essentially segregation of school and state, and it was very interesting, the dynamic, because you have these people who in their own mindset are like, yo, I wasn't good enough, I can't do this, I can't make it here. And here is a metaphor for the educational system in general, not the school itself, but they look at the school and that's the image that they have. And then you have the school who's like the last thing they want is for the kids to be influenced by the hood, and they just kind of want them to live in this bubble, which is unfair to them because I think that you should experience both sides. And there was a couple terrible things. Like there was in 2018, there was a murder of a girl that happened down the street of where I lived, and it was literally on the hood side, like 2 blocks down. And she essentially was in this house, and I guess maybe she went to a house party or she was hanging out with some dude, and just some stuff happened, and she ended up being killed. And it was a very unfortunate incident. And I only found out because as I was walking the streets, the closer I got, the worse it was. I saw ambulances, a lot of cops. What is it? I think I saw like 2 fire trucks, like the smaller ones, the fire rescue, and everything like that. And they had the whole area blocked off. You could see the yellow tape, and it was intense. And I just thought to myself, damn, that's really unlucky. And it kind of just puts it into perspective. I think 2 years ago for Halloween, there were some kids that went around because we were all kind of just super hyped for the Halloween that year. This specific one, there was a couple of girls, I think, or a group of people that got attacked by like 25 high schoolers who were just roaming around looking for people in costume and just beat the hell out of them. I think it was on the news and everything, and it was just extremely messed up. Extremely messed up. Like, why would you do that? Why would you hurt people to that extent? And what benefit do you get from that? And so these are just examples of things that have happened to people that were kind of, I guess, living their own lives and just, I guess, trying to enjoy the moment. Like, I'm sure those people were just having fun on Halloween, walking around in costume and joking with their friends. But these people saw that opportunity to bring some ruin into their lives. And so I guess that's maybe why it stays a pseudoscience, because it's something that is more for yourself. And I think that's where the important aspect is. Like, this law of attraction idea is more about how you want to see the world and how you want to personally carry yourself. But the thing also is that you do not need to flaunt it or flex on it, brag about it, be obnoxious. There's no need to shine a light in people's face. Just be the lamp in the room. You get what I'm saying? Illuminate, radiate, but don't burn. Do not burn. Because when you burn, you are blinded by the flames. And so the only time you can see is when the flames dissipate. When you illuminate, when you radiate, when you brighten a room, you can tell that you can just see things better. Everybody can. There's more light, there's more tones, there's more shade. You can see the contours in people's personalities and behaviors that give you better insight to them. And that's what we're all looking for, so that we can find the people that we want to connect with and appreciate, and we can build upon those connections together. We don't have to be so open about ourselves. Rather, we should just be open minded to the idea about accepting ourselves and each other. Because there are a lot of times where things don't really work out. But the thing is, something that I learned in my quote unquote training is that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% of what you do about it. And that's just another truth to have in the pocketbook of truths? Isn't that something that I think everybody would like? Something to kind of, a type of journal to note down all these important things or important aspects of ourselves that we can kind of boil down into these single sentences that uplift us, moment by moment. You don't need to have a summary or a long paragraph because sometimes you don't have enough to read it. Sometimes you just need a couple words to bring you back. That's why fortune cookies are awesome. You get those fortune cookies like, you going to win something next year. Pursuing forward will be the mindset you need to succeed. Success is for the driven. You are the life of the party. Doritos do not go with Cheetos. I was just playing on the last one. I think all chips can go together. But uh but yeah, it's just nice to have like something personal for yourself to keep yourself grounded and at the same time keep yourself motivated and uplifted so that you can move forward with yourself. And so that's why I think it's important. And that's why I think the law of attraction is definitely something interesting and something you should take for yourself because it's a perfect example of when you're feeling negative and when you're hurting and when you kind of don't want to put that out there, maybe avoid people for a little bit or connect with someone who's always been positive to you, who's always been like a beacon, a lighthouse. So it's like when they shine on you, it's like, please help me, please like give me some guidance, give me some advice, or just can we talk for a little bit? Shine your light on me and let me know what's up. Let me know how you feel. Or can I tell you how I feel at the same time? And so those type of ideas are good so that you can take what you think works for you and you can just leave the rest of it out. Just take little bits and pieces of what works for you and leave the rest to the wind. Let that blow away and give you a nice backdraft to push yourself forward. So yeah, thank you, P Mom, for that. It really gave me something to think about these past couple of days. And so now I want to get into the meat, so to speak. So last night I was doing a bit of studying before I wanted to record the episode, and I was thinking to myself, so why don't I just do something that's simple, that's easy, and just listen to some Alan Watts and see what I think? Because I kind of already had an idea of how I wanted to do this episode. And then I listened to this episode on spirit because I didn't get to finish it last time I was listening to it. I was about halfway through. And so I thought to myself, okay, I'll just finish it and then I'll just chill here. And so what I like to do when I listen to like people talk or like, like kind of like I guess you wouldn't call that a podcast because it wasn't really when it was like a live talk that he was doing for some of these. And so whenever I do that, I like to close my eyes and I like to visualize what he's saying in my own way because I don't want to force the vision. I want to let it flow and then shape it. You know what I mean? It's like if you're painting a picture, right? You put the amount of paint you want on the palette and then you use that paint, but you don't just dip the brush into the whole paint tray, into the whole bucket and then start drawing. Maybe people do, but my analogy is more focused on just let me see what I get and then work with it, shape what comes. And so I just closed my eyes and I was listening to it. It's called Alan Watts. I typed in Alan Watts Spirit. Oh, my bad. It's called Alan Watts, The Encounter of Spirit. And as I was listening to it, I closed my eyes and uh, let me just give you a little backdrop into the day. So I had just watched a new Star Wars movie. It was I. That's all I'm going to say on that. And after that, I just had a lot of sugar in me. There was a lot of food being given, because I have a lot of family. Well, now you guys know I have a lot of family that came down and stuff like that. So I was essentially doped up on a whole bunch of sugar and food. And the whole day I was pretty much eating nothing but cookies and cake. And I had some Skittles that I got from the movie theater. And so I was eating those Skittles throughout the day. And then I ate some more at night and I was drinking a lot of soda. And so I had pretty much a half a big cup of Coca-Cola and essentially, I was just very sugared up, caffeinated, and hyped internally. But mind wise, I was extremely tired. It was like 11:30. I was like, I am ready to go to sleep. But before I go to sleep, let me just have a little bit of insight. Let me have a moment to myself. And so I finished the second half of the Alan Watts Encounter of Spirit. And then for some reason, somehow, I fall asleep and I end up in a lucid dream, like full lucidity. So let me describe that to you. So I'm sleeping, and the first thing that I remember is that I'm in a room in some type of library or something, right? And I'm chilling with some friends and we're hanging out. And The beginning of the dream that I remember from right now starts kind of like this. I start flying in the air, and as I'm flying, I'm thinking to myself, wait, this isn't a dream. I can't fly. So I come back down and I float back down to the ground. And I'm like, okay, so I'm in this situation right now and I don't know what's going on, but I can't hear everyone. I just keep hearing this voice and this voice keeps speaking to me. And so I'm looking around, I'm taking my headphones off and I'm still hearing the voice. So I'm looking around and all these people are like around me and it's a lot of my family. It's like my sisters and stuff like that. And they're all just giving me hugs and like just saying things to me, but I cannot hear them. I can't hear anything. All I hear is this voice playing back in my head. What is going on? Why do I keep hearing things? And so I try to take off the headphones again and then I put them back on. I'm like, okay, no matter what, I keep hearing this voice. And so I'm walking around the library and suddenly this person starts trying to fight me and they're laughing while they're doing it. They're like swinging at me and we're just like jabbing at each other. We're like shadow boxing. And I'm like, what is going on? Why am I fighting someone? And they just keep laughing. They're just laughing the whole time. And so I grab a chair. Well, before I grab a chair, I kick them down and I grab a chair. And then I start essentially stabbing them with the bottom. I'm like, stop fighting me. But when I'm stabbing them, it's going straight through them. And I'm like, this is so weird. This is so weird. So I put the chair back and I start walking. And I'm like, okay, I need to get out of here. And so I keep walking forward. And as I'm walking, I look at this dude and he looks up and his nose is like turned to a side and he has like a nose piercing and he's white and he has like kind of big eyes and he has long, blonde, curly, flowing hair. What is happening? So I look at him and I keep moving forward and I'm walking to the library. Eventually I get outside and then I'm walking through on this dark night, just walking in the streets. And I'm like, how do I get out of here? What is going on? And all I keep hearing is that voice in my head. And I'm like, I gotta go crazy a little bit. And then at the end of the episode, I hear the chime and then I hear the thank you for listening. This was been a great experience and I hope you. And I'm like, what is happening? So I wake up from my dream. I'm like, I wake up in some type of mind thing. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I literally sit down and I take off the headphones in real life and I'm like, did I just induce myself into a trip? Did I just did I just have a trip? Like an LSD one? And I'm looking at my shoes and my shoes are like just my shoes are fuzzy because I was wearing my slippers that I got. What is it for my birthday? And they're just really comfortable. And they're just shaking. Like they're shaking. Fuzziness is just like moving and stuff. And I'm like, what is happening? I know this vision. This is trip vision. I am in trip mode, legit. I start looking at the ground. It starts to move and stuff like that. Because some of the things that happen, these are like a whole other thing, by the way. This is like a whole other aspect of my life. But essentially, the reason I'm sharing this is because this dream was just insane. It was insane. And it sucks that I can't remember every detail to tell you guys. But essentially, this dream was just insane. And so I'm looking at the ground and it's just starting to move. Like we have these tile floors at my grandfather's house. And these tile floors are just moving and breathing in and out on their own as if the earth itself is just breathing in and out. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm tripping. I need to relax. And so I just lay back down on the couch and I'm just like trying to understand what just happened. I like inceptioned myself. I was like in a dream within a dream because I was in full control. Like I was controlling myself and I was moving. The only thing was that I didn't actually, it's like maybe I knew it was a dream, but I just didn't think it was a dream. You know what I'm saying? It's like I knew I was in a dream. Things were happening that shouldn't happen. And so perfect example of, by the way, for yourself, whenever you think you're in a lucid dream or you know you're dreaming is when things one don't look right. And when you try to look at people's faces, they're off. And so the thing for me is that I was moving so fast, like I guess mentally, I was moving so fast that it didn't even register to me that he looked weird because I was in a lucid dream until I got out of the dream. You know what I mean? It's just, I mean, maybe you don't know what I mean, but it was just crazy. Yeah, after that dream, I got a bit more inspiration and I went to bed right after I take off the headphones and everything and I put my cup away and stuff and I'm like I just took a I take a deep breath and I'm just thinking to myself, wow, that was some insanity. And so I just go to sleep on my bed. And before I even go to sleep, I can't go to sleep. I have like my mind still running. And so these words start to appear in my head. And I'm just like, okay, okay, I can't go to sleep. I know this is going to annoy him, but I need to get up and I need to get out because right now I'm just sharing a room with somebody and we're sleeping together in a bed. And so I'm like, okay, I can't. He's going to get mad that I'm doing this, going in and out of the room, but I can't do this. I need to get up and I need to get out. And by the way, it's just my cousin in case y'all are thinking weird stuff. But anyways, so I get out of the room and I sit down on the chairs and I just think to myself, okay, let me just write these ideas and these thoughts down and I'll put it somewhere. I'll just, you know what I'm saying? It's compartmentalizing my thoughts and I put it into a note folder and I put it down and I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave this here and now I'm gonna go to bed. So I went to bed, but before I went to sleep, I just thought to myself, whatever I had for this episode, forget it. I'm talking about dreams today. Like, that's it. I'm talking about dreams because that was just next level. I've never had that happen to me. And the idea behind it that I realized this morning was that, oh, I do remember the last thing that happened before I woke up. The last thing that happened was I heard the voice going. And so when you're looking for it, it kind of just goes away. And right when you look over around the corner, it comes right back again. And that's life. What? Wait, what? And that's what I woke up to. And it was just insane. But essentially, the reason that I heard those specific words was because the video that I was watching transitioned to a 2 hour. So I was listening to essentially the last 10 minutes of something of one video by Alan Watts, right? The Encounter of Spirit. And then it jumped to the next episode or next video that was in the sequence because I was listening to it on YouTube and it was Alan Watts, The Web of Life. And when I saw that, I just thought to myself, oh my God, this man just induced a mental trip because I love listening to this guy because he's just awesome. The Turn Work into Play is one of my favorite videos. You should check that out. It's really helped me kind of gather my own ideas and really put forth this effort and this mindset of, yo, everything that I like to do, I like to have fun with it. If you know me personally in real life, if I'm not having fun, I really don't care. And that's how it was for a long time. Now I'm a little older, so I'm more mature, so I can handle situations where I'm not having fun. But that was just me all the time. And that video helped me really change my mindset into everything that I'm doing, turn it into a type of game, turn it into like a moment where I can have fun with it, play around, but still be serious or still have an impactful message or meaning behind what I want to do. And so definitely check that one out. That one's really good. And so this video, Alan Watts, The Web of Life, I was just thinking to myself, wow, wow, what the heck? And what he just did to me is what I hope to do in the future for people. Really give them that visualization that when they hear me, and hopefully, by the way, gonna have a guest soon, so just be hyped on that. It's not just gonna be me this time. Yeah. But anyways, so just listening to him when I was falling asleep in this lucid state really gave me that insight, really gave me that visualization of maybe what he was saying in my own interpretations. Because essentially, for that dream for me, I felt like, yeah, this tells me that I still have so much more to learn and so much to grow because the actions that I was doing in that dream and even how I was acting, it just shows that I still don't really know much. And I'm still learning so much. And it's awesome because I'm sitting there like, oh, I just had this experience. And now it just shows me that there's just so much more, but on another level, because a lot of the things that I have been experiencing have been very physical, and a lot of the things that I have been battling have been very mental. And so, giving me this kind of checkpoint for myself just shows that, bro, you ain't anywhere, but you just keep going, just keep going. And I think that's awesome. And so, yeah, that dream in and of itself just essentially changed exactly what I wanted to talk about today. And it just went into that. And so this this experience for me definitely showed me that I want to talk about some of my other dreams. And so this is another dream that I had a while ago, and I'm once again paraphrasing just because I don't remember the dream to an exact T. But this was a dream that has been within me for a long time, and kind of just something that I always touch upon for myself. And so this dream is a little different than the dream I just had, but it was essentially the same thing, more of a lucid dream or more of a remembered dream. And so I enter this house, right? And I hear some talking in the foreground, and I'm walking forward, I'm listening. J. Cole and Dave Chappelle are sitting down on the couch talking to each other and just chilling. And they're like, "Hey, yo, Ruben, come over here." And I'm like, "What?" All right. And so I'm like, "Yo, J. Cole and Dave Chappelle are here chilling on my couch. What?" And we're just hanging out, talking and chilling. I guess we're just watching TV or something. I don't really remember. And then we just start bullshitting and talking and everything like that. It's a lot of fun. And then Dave Chappelle's like, "Yo, bro, ain't you got to put on your outfit?" And I was like, "What outfit?" He's like, "Yo, man, go put it on. It's in the closet." And so by this point, I think J. Cole just kind of disappears. And so after that, me and Dave Chappelle go to the room, and then I start putting on my outfit, and I look at it, and it's a onesie. It's a blue green onesie that on the back of it shows the planet, and it says the world. And so I put it on and zip it up. And when I'm wearing it, Dave Chappelle's like, "Yo, you feeling good in that, right? It's pretty dope, huh?" And I'm like, "I guess I don't really know. I'm just kind of wearing it." And he's like, "Yo, man, why are you even wearing that? Why are you even wearing that outfit?" And I'm thinking to myself, "What's wrong with it?" He's like, "That's not you. You not the outfit. You don't have to wear this. This isn't you. You need to be without that. You need to understand who you are." And I'm like, "Well, what is happening?" He's like, "Don't you get it, man? It's a joke. You in a clown suit. That's not real. That's not who you are. You're not this outfit. You're not this persona. You are you. And all this other stuff is just distracting you from what you need to be doing." And I'm like, "What is going on, man? It's just an outfit." He's telling me, "Nah, man, this isn't what it's about. That's not you." And so essentially, it just keeps kind of going into that. And I don't really remember much after. But essentially, that's like the main message. This dream was a lot shorter just because I don't remember a lot, but it was always that ending part. The idea of me wearing this outfit, me putting on this mask, this type of thing for others and for myself, and him kind of just telling me in my mental scape, like, "Yo, this is irrelevant. That is not important. That's not who you are. You don't need to put this on." And just the whole aspect of the world, like me trying to always be better for myself and always trying to help people and all this other stuff. And it's like, yo, that's not important. Is that who you are? No, you are you. Build your spirit, build yourself up before you start trying to save others, before you start trying to do all this stuff. And this is maybe my own interpretation. You can definitely have your own too. You know, that's the great thing about dreams is that we can all see it in our own perspective. And even my own, just me sharing it, you probably have your own perspective already about it. And that's awesome. And so in the dream, he essentially keeps telling those things to me. And eventually, I think I take it off. I'm not too sure. I don't really remember. This was a dream a very long time ago, but I always just remember that aspect of I'm wearing this outfit and he mocks me for wearing it. Like my own mind mocks me for putting on an outfit that essentially makes me feel like I'm some type of person that wants to help. And it's like, like you're still not there, you're still not getting it. And this was a dream I had like maybe 2 years ago or something like that. And it's a dream that I've had for a long time within me. And I always keep it within myself. And the reason I want to share it with y'all is because I want you guys to kind of have your own thing, your own idea of what it could mean in general for yourself, maybe even for me too, but mostly for yourself. So that when you hear that or when you think back on it, you're like, wow, this was pretty interesting. I didn't think that dreams could be like this. Or, dreams could even be crazier. There's been other crazy dreams that I've had that I don't really want to share just because they have no relevance to anything. I mean, if you guys ask me to, I can share them in another episode, but they really have no relevance to what I'm talking about today. And besides the fact that they're dreams, but there was no deeper meaning. They were just kind of crazy, and so that's that's kind of what I wanted to share with you all today because these dreams And these moments that we have for ourselves are extremely important. And a lot of our dreams, we may not remember them, but a lot of these dreams have something to teach us that maybe we don't even know for ourselves. That whole idea that I was talking about last week about having your soul condensed in such a form and in such a shape that your subconscious shoots out things that are important to you, the true you, and things that matter to you, and they end up on the surface of your mind and they become these words and sentences and these ideas that you put together and create these visual images of yourself or of the things that you want in your life. And so these dreams also have a way to shape what's going on. In the chaos, it'll give you a path to kind of see for yourself. I'll give you a couple ways to induce lucid dreaming on your own. So, my probably the number one way for me to always go back into a lucid dream in case I want to go like full control is wake up. Like when you're feeling like you're about to wake up and then go back to sleep instantly. Like even do this, set an alarm for like an hour or two before you usually wake up. Set that alarm, turn it off, and then go back to sleep. You'll be so tired. All you gotta think is, all right, just stay awake, just stay awake, and you, boom, you'll be in a lucid dream. That's for me the fastest way to go in a lucid dream. Now, other ways are obviously like what happened last night to basically put yourself in a very sleepy state and just try to stay awake. Just try to stay awake in a very sleepy state, and you will go into a lucid dream because your mind will be awake, but you will fall asleep. Mr. Robot in season two, no, my bad, in season three, has a great way of visualizing the process because in one of the scenes he essentially wants to lucid dream, and so he looks it up and stuff like that for information, and he finds that you can lucid dream by doing that technique. And so for me, when I first learned lucid dreaming, it was when I was a kid, and me and my one of my best friends, Justin, and his brother. His brother was always very always was interested in like the mind stuff and like I guess horror and definitely metaphysical things. So he was looking it up. He was like, "Yo, guys, you know about lucid dreaming?" Da da da. And we started talking about it, and then he was telling us, and we eventually tried it. Like I think a couple nights later, and then from then on, I just kind of got into a rhythm of it. But I've always noticed that for me, the easiest way for me to induce a lucid dream is to wake up in the morning and go right back to sleep. Like the best way is if you wake up kind of tired and you're like, "Ooh, I want more sleep," and you have a day off, just go back to sleep. But try to stay awake. It'll just be a lot easier to induce that lucid dream because you're tired and because your body already wants to go to sleep. And so if you just push yourself to stay awake, you'll induce the lucid dream. But yeah, those are the dreams that I wanted to share today. And I want to talk about just one more thing that I think is very cool and also very important is D&D. Now, speaking of games and stuff like that, D&D for me, which is Dungeons and Dragons, is the greatest game you'll ever play. For me personally, better than any console game, better than any PC game, better than any game you've ever played in your life. I talked about Majora's Mask and how that's like my favorite Legend of Zelda game, probably one of my favorite games as well. Better. D&D gives you the ability to manifest your imagination to the fullest extent. Now, you have to have a good DM or just a DM in general because you have to have a dungeon master that kind of helps you shape the world that you want to see around you. But with the power of your imagination, you can be whoever you want. You can act however you like, and you can experience so many fun things with your friends that you wouldn't be able to normally experience. And it doesn't even have to be something nerdy or weird or geeky. It can just be something fun, something that you do with your friends and you just have fun with it. You know, trials and failures and battles and challenges. It's just so amazing. It's so much fun to get with a group of friends and just really have that experience. And if you don't believe me, or if you think I might be going crazy, well, then just look it up for yourself. You can look up, there's so many people that have D&D campaigns on YouTube, online. I think there's also some that do Spotify podcast. I would love to do one myself, but I would have to get a group together. So that's definitely something that I've been thinking about for the future. But just for right now, just know that D&D is like one of the greatest games ever. And the reason I bring it up is because there was a conversation I had with an old DM of mine named Nelson. And me, him, and a couple of our friends were arguing in my friend Dante's room. And a lot of times, the final boss of a D&D campaign would be similar to like an RPG. You'll be fighting like a concept of life or like an aspect of the world. So, for example, we were talking about the aspect of fear. and whether at the end we would destroy it or leave it, in the final battle, so to speak, because it would kind of just snowball into there somehow. And so I was of the mindset that, yo, we should just straight destroy it. We should just kill fear. Why do we need fear? We don't need fear. Fear holds us back. Fear doesn't let us do anything. Fear puts people behind and all this other stuff. And he was like, nah, you need to have fear. You need to have that fear there. And I was like, yo, we don't need it. He's like, yes, we do. Avengers, Civil War. Like, and so we just kept arguing back and forth. And I think most of them agreed that we should have kept fear. And I was like, nah, if we're there as Reuben Hood, Alco Hero, the boy, I'm going to try to kill it. I'm going to try to destroy it. And so it created this wonderful dynamic between us. And because essentially in our own way of talking about it, we created like a new final boss, which was essentially me. Because it's like we go as a partnership, all four or five of us do this whole campaign, connect, come together. And then at the end of it, we would fight this aspect of reality, defeat it, and then have a choice of whether to destroy it or not. And then after we decide whether to destroy it or not, then suddenly there's a new fight, a new challenge, because now it's me having to battle against my friends to destroy this aspect that I think should not exist. And it's my friends battling me in order to preserve essentially reality. So it was just awesome. Just even talking about it there kind of just created its own dynamic. Also, by the way, I've never really gotten to finish a D&D campaign, so my rule is if I do not finish a D&D campaign or until I finish one, I will always create Reuben Hood, and it will always be a generational thing. Just a Reuben Hood from a different universe, a different timeline, like it'll be a descendant or something like that. But all my characters have always been named Reuben Hood. All of them. Reuben Hood Alco Hero. That's me. That's who I am. And until I finish a campaign, I'm not changing it because I want to finish one. That was my creed, and it still is to this day. However, I also do have one other character. His name was Burner, and it was, me and Nelson talked about it, and essentially he was just tired of me playing Reuben Hood. So we kind of came to an agreement, and essentially he was like the robotic Iron Man. I was shooting like iron arrows from my hands and stuff like that. I was somewhat aggressive. It was a lot of fun. So one of my rules was in order to play him is that I had to be like I wanted. I wanted to have to be the robot how I wanted to, like 100%. Because there's certain races and aspects, and they act differently depending on what race and species you use, which adds just a level of depth and creativity. It doesn't really hinder you. It just gives you more options because your character act a certain way based on their lifestyle and stuff that you essentially roll for or create for yourself, which is the backstory. And so Burner, my rule was after I say something, I have to say boom pops. It was just my own little way of still having fun with the character because he was a robot. So every time I'd walk around, I'd be like, all right, I'm about to shoot these arrows. Boom pop, 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 and stuff like that. And so it's a lot of fun. And so D&D is definitely something that is important in my life and definitely something that's close to my heart because it's one of the games that I've played with my friends for a long time and it's just something that we've always bonded over and had experiences. And there's a couple other D&D crazy stories too, but I'll leave that for another time just cuz I don't want to get all into it. But essentially, D&D is an awesome game and you should definitely try it with your friends. And you can start off simple. You don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to buy all the books and do all that. Just try it, give yourself a trial session. They have also stories online that you can look up that you can follow like a type of guide and type of storyline to kind of help you get used to it. Like if you want to be a DM instead of just a player, because DMing is fun as well. I've done it a couple times. I'm mostly usually a player, but DMing is definitely fun because you get to set up the world, the what is it, the challenges, the fights, the scenarios and stuff like that. And it's cool to see how everybody reacts because even though you think people may act a certain way, they'll act completely differently. For example, most of the time that we spent playing was inside towns and stuff like that because it takes so long for everybody to just do their turns. And plus, the towns is where it happens. Fights and stuff like that, they usually some of them take long depending on if they're a boss fight or something like that. But essentially, you're just having fun with it, you know? And so those are just really important things to me. I guess dreams and discovery and just finding the way you want to set your path. Because once you find out the direction you want to walk, just letting you know, once you choose that direction for yourself, you'll see things will be different. Things may be harder. Oh, that's damn true. but things will also be different, and you'll be able to experience more for yourself. And when you gain more experience, you can feel more fulfilled. You will be stronger. You will be better. You will become more resilient to the things around you, and you'll be able to leave your mark on the world for yourself and for your family. Be the change you want to see. I love y'all. Let's get it. And stay tuned for next week. It's going to be that hype. All right, y'all. Ruben Hood Alco Hero out. Make sure to leave a comment. Let me know. Like I said, I put my email a couple times. Ruben and Gutierrez at Outlook.com. Shoot me an email if you want to come on. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. We can use Discord. So just hit me up. Let me know what's up. And let me know how you feel. And if you ever need to talk, just shoot me a message as well. I try my best to frequent the Listen to You subreddit on Reddit just because I always want to make sure that I'm not just talking about it. I'm always trying to look out for people and help them and say some kind words, you know? Much love to everybody. Have a great week. Happy New Year. Merry Chrysler. And best of luck to you.